to my live review of The Smashing Machine starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Emily Blunt. So yeah, I've literally just come back from the cinema and that's why I'm a couple of minutes late. So it's my like out of cinema reaction basically. This will be on Geek Boy A Movie Story, which is my podcast that I occasionally do for movies because obviously I usually do toy hunts and football, comic cons, horror, and so on and so forth. The movie one I don't do as much. It's just as and when there's a film that I'm really interested in that comes out. And I've been really interested in this one for a while because I've been wanting to see The Rock in this role because like it looked really really awesome. So yeah, I usually do like a podcast for this one, for the movie ones, and just decided to do it live because long story short, I've kind of run out of time to be doing podcasts because I've got a very busy weekend doing filming elsewhere. So yes, you are unfortunately stuck with me on Friday nights reviewing the Smashing Machine. But yeah, wants to join in, obviously you're more than welcome to. If not, this will be on a video as well as being on a podcast. Yes, and all my subscribers know this basically, but everything that I do on this will end up on the Geek Boy. I forgot the name of my own podcast now. Geek Boy, a movie story, basically. So yeah, it'll all be on there, and you can listen or watch as you want. So, I've basically just got in and basically written down every single thing I can think of about the film in the space of 5 minutes. So this is not the best well prepared thing, but I'll just try and take you through a bit of the story, what I thought of the film, where the great acting performances were from, what wasn't so great, and just what happened. Yeah, I went into it a bit blind because I used to watch MMA and UFC. I've heard of Mark Kerr in passing, but I'd never seen one of his fights. And I've only very briefly watched Pride, which I watched with a few of my mates a few years ago. And yeah, I mean, you're talking, it was about 15, 16 years ago, so I can't really recall having seen Kerr fight. Yeah, basically, the film's set between 1997 and the year 2000. And at the start, you see The Rock basically come out. And I'll just say, I'll get into the comments in a minute, guys, as well, if you just give us 1 sec. Basically, you see Kerr starting off working his way up the ranks, and the first sort of 10 minutes is of him like having fights with various people, and then basically he ends up going to by the way, I should just say very very quickly, if you've not seen the film, please do switch off immediately as much as I want to be viewed. If you have not seen The Smashing Machine, do not watch this live stream. Cool, nice one. Right, actually, I will get into the comments because there's quite a few that have come already. Um, Tan, sorry, Tankonit. Hi, hi, mate. John RL, hello, John. Aziz Isa BD, I'm from Bangladesh. Oh, well, nice one. Nice to have you here. Hi, Tankonit again. Anyone play SAB? Wouldn't even know what it was. John RL, leave a like for me. Nah, cool, nice one. Yeah, so basically, you see Kerr winning and going up the ranks, and to be honest, a lot of the film is centered around this tournament that he goes to in Japan, and I must confess I missed this bit. I think the tournament was for Pride in Japan. I might have got that one slightly wrong because I wasn't concentrating as much as I should have been at the time. It was probably Emily Blunt that put me off. Sorry. But Emily Blunt plays his wife Dawn. They've got a very, very toxic relationship in the film. Before he goes to Japan, you also see Mark Kerr taking like loads of, basically taking steroids and stuff. And you see him sort of whispering to himself and trying to stop himself from doing it, but he does it anyway. I thought The Rock, I'll get on to The Rock in a minute, but just in general, that sort of side of it, I thought he was bloody brilliant. Absolutely bloody brilliant doing that. And he's basically living a lie, trying to get more and more drugs. So they go over to Japan, and this is where it kicks off a little bit because Kerr's never actually lost at that point. He's never lost a professional fight. And there's this weird scene where there's an interviewer that interviews him in Japan. It's like, well, what are you going to do if you lose? And it throws Kerr completely for a loop because he's just like, what do you mean if I lose? I don't lose. And it's like, well, what if you do lose? And Kerr basically sits there and goes, I've got no idea. Um, his wife Dawn, played by Emily Blunt, I think that's her name, Dawn. If anyone's seen the film like me, just correct me if I get the names wrong. His wife Dawn basically comes along, and I wasn't really sure about this bit because I think Kerr invites Dawn over to come and watch him, but then basically Kerr kicks off because he's like, well, what are you doing here? Like, I'm trying to get ready for my fight and this, that, and the other. There's this whole massive kick off. Kerr goes to do his fight in Pride. I've forgotten his name, but basically he actually fights Alexander Usyk, as in the boxer Alexander Usyk. I mean, I didn't look at the casting, to be honest. In fact, let me just have a look what his name is. Alexander Usyk played Alexander Usyk even. Let me have a look. Can't find it at this bit, but yeah, basically he's in it, and like, so there's a bit where The Rock is actually fighting Alexander Usyk, and I was like, what is going on? This is mental. Because obviously Usyk's like pretty much the best boxer in the, well, he is the best boxer in the world. Let's have it right. I didn't know he had any sort of MMA background. I'm assuming he hasn't, and they just had the like boxing scenes for Usyk to go in. Anyway, long story short, Usyk's character beats The Rock. I think that's who beats The Rock, but not The Rock, Mark Kerr even. And Kerr completely loses it, goes absolutely ballistic, goes on this spiral of like depression, basically. There's a lot more to it than that, obviously, in better ways that I can describe it. But he comes back to America and basically is an absolute mess, gets himself trashed, he's drinking, he's taking steroids, he's having a go at his missus Dawn, he's breaking windows, smashing doors. There was a scene where he smashed a door next to Emily Blunt's character Dawn, and there was a hint of spousal abuse, but it didn't really touch on it, but it kind of skimmed where it's like, oh, I hope that wasn't what was going on. But anyway, one of his friends called Mark Coleman, who's also in the film, and he's played by Ryan Bader. He was brilliant. I'll get on to actor awards in a minute. He nearly stole the whole film. So he starts off as Kerr's trainer in the film. He then goes back to America when Kerr is basically effing up his life. Dawn calls him and was like, you need to come and help Mark because he's basically effed up and this, that, and the other. And there was a scene in the hospital where Kerr's pretending to him, like, oh yeah, I just fell down and I was just sick and blah, 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 blah. And then, I forgot his name again. What's his name again? Come on. Mark Coleman. Mark Coleman. Let me just check if I've got that right. This is where I should do notes before I go live. Yeah, Mark Coleman. So The Rock gives this, sorry, not The Rock, Mark Kerr gives this ridiculous explanation, like, oh yeah, I just fell down the stairs or whatever the explanation was. And then he just turns around and says, right, cut the bull, you know what. And then Mark Kerr just breaks down in front of him. And that gets me to like the middle of it. So the first hour of the film I thought was excellent. I thought it was absolutely sensational. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and the hour went like that. But then there was this bit, and if anyone's seen the film, I don't know if you guys agree or disagree or whatever, but there was a bit in the middle of the film where there's quite a bit of exposition that's just completely glossed over. Like, Kerr kind of gets better, but then his wife gets ill because she starts drinking and carrying on as well. And it's like, could we not see a bit more of that? Like, I mean, obviously it was like a 2 hour film already as it was, but that was the only real misstep in the film for me. I just thought there was a little bit where they could have expanded on it because basically you went for The Rock being a druggie, Mark Kerr being a drug addict, to then all of a sudden going to one of his old trainers, who was played by Bas Rutten, which I had no idea he was going to be in either, because obviously he's an actor, but he was also a former MMA fighter back in the day. And yeah, it sort of just jumps from there to there, and then there's a little like sort of Rocky montage where basically Mark Kerr's getting himself back fit, and then Emily Blunt just turns up out of nowhere and says, "Okay, come on, let's go home then." And it's like, but the last time we saw you two, you were like arguing and like throwing things at each other. So how did you guys get back on the same page? That's what I mean. It's being a bit picky, because I thought it was an excellent film in general, but I did have a bit of problems with that, because I was just like, well, I mean, how have we got to that situation? What made it even worse then was then they started arguing straight away, him and his wife. And then there's this scene which was absolutely brilliant, where basically The Rock and Emily Blunt are going bar for bar. And I did have a worry that acting wise, obviously The Rock's a fantastic actor, but Emily Blunt is top draw. Emily Blunt is one of the best actors in the world. And I just thought, oh, I hope she's not going to end up not out acting The Rock, but I don't know, making him look stupid. But he held his own. It was a magnificent scene, and there was swearing, there was pots and pans being chucked about, blah 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 blah. There was this, there was that. Emily Blunt pulls a gun. She's threatening to shoot herself and take more pills. And then basically The Rock calls. Sorry, I'm just going to call him The Rock, guys, because I can't remember Mark. There's this bit where he just rings the police, and he has his wife basically taken away to like what I'm assuming was a mental institution on police advice, and I was just like, well, speaking for myself, I mean, one would assume that I was not be able to do that for my own wife. So yeah, she's gone a bit off the rails, take her away. I was just like, how the hell does that happen? Yeah, and then basically, to be honest, it's pretty much like a redemption arc from there. So Kerr and Dawn split. Kerr goes back to training. He goes back with, I will remember this guy's name, I swear to God. Where's he gone again? Sorry, you know I'm not the most organised. Let me go on Wikipedia so I can finally remember the guy's name. Mark Coleman, that's it. So him and Coleman go to do this Pride tournament, which is what the whole film's been building to. And both of them start really well. Coleman wins his fights. Mark Kerr wins his one fight. And I was thinking to myself, they kept saying that basically they're in the same tournament, and that Coleman's Ryan Bader's character Coleman was going to end up meeting The Rock's character Mark Kerr as best friends. And I thought, well, it'll just be the usual thing of like that it'll be like Rocky or something like that when he fights Apollo Creed, and they have respect for each other and blah 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 and so on and so forth. They all shake hands at the end. Maybe The Rock loses, but he gets to the final and finds introspection, and we all go away happy, etc., etc. Because I did not know about Mark Kerr at all. That is not what happened in the slightest. So basically, he ends up losing his last fight. I don't think it was his last ever fight, because there was an end credit scene where it said Kerr fights for another 9 years after that. So I don't know what happened with his career from that stage. But basically, Kerr gets basically finished by, I don't know who it was, this guy that he was fighting. And then it cuts to Goodman, who his mate, who ends up winning the whole tournament. But he looks really lost, because he's just won the tournament, which also you get £200,000 in randomly, which I'm sure it would be a lot more now. But then The Rock's sort of in the shower, he's bloody battered and beaten, and he looks really, really happy. So I'm assuming the lesson is the reason he's really happy is because he's now accepted losing, I guess. I wasn't really sure about the ending either, to be completely honest, but yeah, and then basically you end up at the end actually seeing the real Mark Kerr, who is obviously a lot older now, and it was actually him in real life, and he's talking to people, and break the fourth wall. They have Kerr saying hello to everyone at the end, what's to at the end. Oh, that's an interesting way of doing it. But yeah, basically, that's, in a nutshell, that's roughly the plot of the film. So there's only like two arcs really. You've got Kerr going to Japan, losing, and then you've got the second arc of him ruining his entire life, but then his redemption story is coming back, and then realizing that him and his wife have a toxic relationship, and that also it's okay to lose. Basically, is what I took it as. So yeah, I'll get back into the other things in a minute. Just some of the other things I was looking at, but I will answer questions and stuff first. Let me have a look. And just as a warning, guys, people who are listening to this on YouTube podcast when it comes out, whenever I go live, I tend to either have the football crowd talking about the wrestling crowd talking about the football, the horror crowd talking about Comic Con, so on and so forth. So this might be a bit of a deviation, so just bear with me. AR, how you doing, AR? Chelsea 1 versus Liverpool 1. Let's have a look. Mama, yeah. Robbo, yeah. VVD, yeah. E-boot, no, not for me this time. I would have. I'm sorry, I'd bring Gomez in or I'd bring Endo in. I think Kanate's been shocking, and I think he needs to be dropped. To be honest, for this game tomorrow, but that's just my opinion. Bradley, yes. Gravo, yes. Sobo, yes. Maki, yes. Chiesa, yes. Isaac, yes. And Salah, yes. So, yeah, I'd agree with you, the whole thing, mate, other than Kanate. I get why you probably have to play him for obvious reasons, but I haven't been impressed with the man at all. Alice, hi, what are you doing? Hi, Alice. Well, basically, I'm doing a little review of the Smashing Machine starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But like I said, my live streams usually end up going in bizarre ways, and I will end up talking about football or wrestling or random stuff that has nothing to do with it. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Joshua said hi. How you doing, Joshua? You all right? Mark, hi, Mark. How you doing? Yeah, we spoke the other day, didn't we, mate? How was Sheffield? I haven't been yet. Sheffield is on. I don't know what I'm doing from one day to the next. Sheffield is on Sunday, providing the entire world doesn't end with this storm that's currently battering my house. I hope everyone else is safe out there, by the way, because like when they were saying there was a storm, I was just like, yeah, whatever, blah blah blah. And it's like some sort of biblical storm outside in Leeds. So I hope the rest of you are okay. But yeah, Mark, I'm going to Sheffield Sunday about 11. So I'll be going to Sheffield Comic Con hopefully for about 1 o'clock, mate. I'm going to Meadowhall afterwards. So yeah, I'll get them meatballs when I get to Meadowhall, lad. And then I'll be at Sheffield United for about 4 or 5 o'clock. But I've also given myself another mission now. I've just realised that Sheffield have got a really good Forbidden Planet. So I'm going to try and go after Meadowhall, drop by Forbidden Planet, go and get some comic books and blah 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 blah, and then get to Sheffield United, then get all the way back to the train station, and then get back home to Leeds. So Sunday is going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to be a very very long day, very long day. We have Lakesh Yadav. Oh, thank you. Lakesh, sorry, Lokesh. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Oh, shit, it's very late to be watching this. Yeah, appreciate it though, mate. Cheers. And AR again, Arsenal versus West Ham tomorrow. If you're asking for my prediction, AR, I'm going to go with Arsenal 5, West Ham 0, because I have no confidence whatsoever of this weekend not being anything but a complete bloody shambles football-wise. I think Everton will win. I think Chelsea will beat us. I think Manchester City will win. I don't even know who Man United have got, but sod's law, they'll win as well. And yeah, I think Arsenal will completely murder West Ham. It'll be 5-0. It's going to be a horrendous, horrible ordeal. Which reminds me, if there are any Liverpool fans, if you want to drown your sorrows, I'll be doing a live stream at 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Like I said, guys, I said jokingly on one of my posts, but if that ends up finishing 4 or 5-0 Chelsea, there is no live stream, and you'll have to talk amongst yourselves or whatever. So yeah, going back to the film just quickly, there were just a couple of bits and pieces that I want to say about it, if I can find. First of all, I just want to say shout out to The Rock, and I know I'm a bit biased because I've followed The Rock since, 1997, give or take, when he was just Rocky Maivia, or even what was he called? Was it Flex Cavana back in the day? So yeah, I've been following The Rock for years. I'm just going to say right now, this is the best film The Rock has ever done. End of discussion. He's knocked it out of the park. Whether it's going to be enough for him to get that vaunted Oscar, I don't know, but he must have a hell of a chance because he was super. And it wasn't just the makeup or the effects or anything. The Rock's performance was magnificent. I can't speak highly enough about him. I thought he was excellent. It wasn't just because I think the criticism The Rock gets is it's like being Black Adam. He can be films with Chris Hart and it's The Rock. He can do Gridiron Gang and it's The Rock pretending to be a football coach or whatever he is in that film. This was. There were times, put it this way, the highest compliment I can pay Dwayne Johnson is there were times I thought to myself, I had to remind myself it was actually The Rock. It was that good. He sunk into that role brilliantly. He showed vulnerability. It was really weird to hear him swear because obviously The Rock used to swear all the time on Monday Night Raw, but this was outrageous swearing. There was a scene where he was basically damn near passed out from all the drugs and stuff he was taking, and he looked like a zombie. It was proper powerful. The bit where he ripped off the door off the hinges with Dawn, Emily Blunt's character, was brilliant. Yeah, The Rock was absolutely fantastic. So shout out to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who I'm sure will not be watching this live stream, but yeah, it's the best thing he's ever done, bar none, simple as that. Apart from his wrestling, which is still better. But I'm an old man. I'll always be Attitude Era Rock. So there we go. Emily Blunt, lights out again as per usual, brilliant. Like I said, my only criticism, it wasn't with Emily Blunt's performance as Dawn because she was great, but there was a bit where, because she'd been in the film not the same time as The Rock, but not a million miles off, so she'd been featured in the film quite a bit. And then they just sort of not discarded her, but like when the Rock's going through his recovery, Emily Blunt's character just disappears. And then she reappears at the gym and all's been forgiven. But then she becomes an addict. And then the scene later, she's got a gun to her head. And the scene later, police cars carting her off to the mental institution. And I'm like, could we not have had another 10-15 minutes to develop the characters? There's nothing to do with Emily Blunt. Like I said, I don't want to keep harping on about it, but that bit I did find a little bit frustrating. I would have liked to have seen a little more exposition on the story, but that's just me. The fact that Alexander Usyk was brilliant in the little bits that he did. It was just the fact that Usyk was talking to The Rock at one point, and I was just like, "This is insane! What is going on?" The other thing I really wanted to say was shout out to Ryan Bader, who played Mark Coleman, whose name I finally remembered now. So he's The Rock's best mate, his training partner, and nearly his opponent, and also an MMA fighter. This guy was amazing. He was not a million miles off The Rock. It was a magnificent performance. I mean, I loved the bit where he hugged the Mark Kerr and was just like, "Let it all out. You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you." And he was so good in this. So I really thought he was fantastic. So I've not seen Ryan Bader in anything before, but he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I really like the bits where The Rock also he has like these like weird tics and facial tics, and he's blatantly got OCD as Mark Kerr. There was this scene where he'd asked Dawn to cut a cactus plant, and she'd done it but not done it in the right way, and yeah, there were all these things like you've not made my smoothie correctly. There's leaves in the water, so I don't know if I'm not sure if Kerr was diagnosed with ADHD or anything like that, or OCD or ADD, ADD. But he's got a lot of like eccentricities, shall we say? But yeah, I love the way that he played that as well. So, and that's kind of what drove him and his missus apart as well, because she was just like, you've now got sober, I want to go out and drink, and this is really annoying, you're just in my face all the time. So yeah, it was a very toxic relationship by all accounts. They did actually say that Kerr and Dawn got back together for 6 years and had a child, but with it being 6 years, one would assume that they're divorced. I don't know. I'm not going to pry because it's none of my business at the end of the day. But yeah, it looks like they're quite a toxic, toxic relationship. Um, Spoke about the middle bit. Spoke about the addictions. Yeah, there was the weird thing with Boss Rutan's character or Bass Rutan's character, who I kind of know, but I don't know enough about. Obviously, I know he was very good at MMA, but I don't know enough about his career to make comment. He was actually really, really good, to be honest, especially the fake heart attack scene. If you haven't seen it, yeah, there's a random fake heart attack scene. If you have seen it, you'll know about it. But yeah, he was actually randomly quite good, to be fair. Yeah, and Kerr being freed by the loss. I guess that was meant to be the story. I'm not entirely sure if that was the whole premise of the film. Yeah, the ending was a. I'd say the middle bit was very disappointing after a fantastic first hour and 10 minutes. It regained its focus the last 30 minutes when they went into the Pride scene. That was really, really good. So the Pride fight scene, obviously. Really, really enjoyed that. And then just at the end, there was The Rock taking his shower and then looking as if he's been freed from torture, basically. But then it randomly goes to the real Mark Kerr, and then he's just like, um, thanks for watching, everyone, on actual camera. And I'm like, it completely took me out of it. And it's not that bad because basically, what am I trying to say? Basically, the film was literally about to end. So yeah, I can kind of accept that, but overall, thoroughly enjoyed it. So I usually give these things reviews. I'm just gonna have a look to see if there's anything I've missed. Talked about that. Talked about that. Talked about that. No, I think that's it. That's it, folks. Basically, overall, I'd say the best actor who wasn't The Rock was Ryan Bader. Like I said, Emily Blunt was fantastic. They were all really, really good. There wasn't a poor performance amongst any of the sort of actors who were featured. But The Rock, like I said, round of applause to the bloke. You might not particularly like the film or like MMA, but The Rock's performance was fantastic, and fair play to him, because I did think to myself, I just hope he's not going to try and go Laurence Olivier. Yep, not having that, thank you. Yeah, sorry folks, that's just put me off. Like I said, the people who've heard me said this before, I won't stand for nonsense on the channel, so please don't put offensive messages up. Cheers. Yeah, so they were all fantastic, but The Rock was absolutely sensational. To shout out to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Obviously, I've been a fan of his for like literally 25, 30 years. I'm so pleased for him because that was a sensational performance. And I'm really looking forward now to this film that he's doing with Scorsese and Leo DiCaprio. I think Emily Blunt might be in that as well, actually, I'm not sure. But he's going to play like a Hawaiian mob boss, but in Hawaii. And he was telling the story the other day on Pat McAfee's show, and I didn't know anything about this whatsoever. But apparently, there was a whole Hawaiian sort of mafia thing that kind of started in Hawaii, then kind of went over to America as well. And I had no idea about this whatsoever. Anyway, I think The Rock's going to play the chief or something along them lines. I'm not totally sure what he's doing, but now I've seen this, I'm really, really looking forward to that. Plus, also, I would like The Rock to get back to his day job and possibly face John Cena in his last match, which is my prediction, by the way. I reckon John Cena will be facing The Rock on Saturday night's main event on December the 13th, but I could be completely wrong, so who knows. But yeah, shout out to The Rock, you were brilliant, mate. And also, just to say, my final grade for the film I'm going to give it a solid B, so just shy of a B plus. I don't think it was an absolute smash, but I've really enjoyed it. It was really good. But then again, I'm one of the guys who loves weapons, so all my reviews that I've done this year, films I've seen. So you've got Thunderbolts. What else have I seen this year? Superman, Megan, Fantastic Four. Obviously the Smashing Machine now that I've just seen. I think I've seen another one recently as well, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was now. But I've only seen about 7 or 8 movies, so that's why I've not done too many podcasts. But Weapons for me is the best film of the year by an absolute country mile. I know everyone's going mad about this Leo DiCaprio film at the minute. I don't need to see it. I'm sure I will see it. I'm sure it's very good. It won't be as good as Weapons. I can basically call that right now. Weapons is the film of the year. End of discussion as far as I'm concerned. Although there are other opinions available, so that's fine if you don't agree. So cool. And that's the end of the review, folks, basically. So, like I said, this will be on YouTube podcasts, hopefully almost immediately, and also it'll be on YouTube videos probably sort of tomorrow afternoon. Like I said, I don't do many of the Geek Boy a Movie Story pods or live streams, but I do. There's quite a few on that little playlist. So if you just type in Geek Boy 7381, and if you look at my playlist, there's a playlist that says Geek Boy does movies or whatever it's called, and there'll be reviews and shorts and this, that, and the other. Also, as well, can I just say, I know this is a bit of a random one. In fact, bear with me a second. By the way, when I disappear from you guys, that is not. I'm not going to be drinking water. Friday. Bit of a random shout out, but earlier today, some of the older people might know this. I know there's a lot of kids and teenagers and 20s that follow me and stuff. I know you may not know what I'm talking about, but I just wanted to say shout out to Patricia Routledge, who unfortunately died today at the age of 96, and I've already done like a tribute to her on the channel and a short if you want to check it out. But Patricia Routledge was one of our best comedic actors. She was an absolutely brilliant actor, performer, wonderful woman. And she was in this show called Keeping Up Appearances, and if you're from abroad, Keeping Up Appearances was this sitcom that we used to have in the UK in about 93 to about 1996, and it was about basically this highly strung lady who wanted to show how highly strung she was, and she gets into all sorts of nonsense and hilarious things happen to her and this, that, and the other. It's a lot better than what I've just made up, but if you've never seen Keeping Up Appearances, I'd urge you all to give it a watch if you've never seen it before, because it was fantastic. So, but yeah, Patricia Routledge was a very big part of my early days. She used to make me laugh so much on that show because she was so brilliant. Like I said, a comedic timing was French kiss. So I just want to say, rest in peace, Patricia. I'll be having a drink for you in about 5 or 6 minutes. And thank you for everything that you did, and thank you for making me laugh, basically. So yeah, thank you, Patricia. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I'll just go through briefly what I'm doing over the next week before I head off. Like Mark was saying, I am going to Sheffield. I will be there, as I say, pretty much the whole day from 11 o'clock till probably 9 o'clock or something along them lines, give or take. And I'm going to be going live probably 3 or 4 times. There'll be loads of vlogs, loads of toy shorts. There'll be loads of stuff from Sheffield Comic Con. If I can't do a live there, then I'll do a vlog. I will definitely be able to go live at Bramall Lane, providing I get there early enough. And yeah, it should be really good on Sunday. So I've not been out filming now for ages. The last time I went out was for York Comic. It was AEW Forbidden Door. 2 days later it was WWE Leeds, and then 2 days after that it was York Comic Con. So that week was just bedlam. and I haven't really done anything like since, other than doing my live streams and stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there. So it should be really good. The next weekend, because of my vaunted brother, shout out to the bro, I'm actually going to be doing quite a few stadium tours. So I'm going to probably Birmingham City, West Brom, Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm also going to go to see the Diogo Memorial for the first time, because I've not seen it obviously since Diogo Jota passed. So I'm going to go and lay some flowers there, and I'll get a couple of shots of the mural and so on and so forth. I'm going to be doing some bits and pieces around Telford, which is technically where I'm from. So if anyone's watching from Telford, I will see you next weekend. Possibly might even see you in Shrewsbury. If I'm allowed, I'll also see if I can go to Shrewsbury Town, but I don't think I'll be allowed on my brother's birthday. But there we go. And I'll also be doing some bits and pieces in Birmingham as well. So it's a whole sort of Midlands return from me, because as you might be able to tell from my accent, I am very much from the West Midlands. So there we go. So it'll be good to go home next weekend. Other than that, tomorrow I'll be back on for Liverpool versus Chelsea, the live reaction, which will be at 11 o'clock at night. So I'm going to do kind of a bit of a watch along with Match of the Day, and just go through what happened in the Chelsea match. Like I said, to return to that, I'm not very confident in the slightest, to be honest, but we will see what happens with that. I will be doing a Liverpool wrap up during the international break on Monday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It might be a bit later because I don't know what time I'm getting back from Sheffield. After that, I'll be on for a Wednesday AEW Dynamite, because I cover AEW as well. Because AEW is like having title Tuesday, so they've moved it from Tuesday to Wednesday's Dynamite this week. Monday Night Raw I'll be doing on the Tuesday, and I'll be doing that going forward from now on, due to work commitments and this, that, and the other, which you guys don't need to know about. And then this time next Saturday, so a week on Saturday, it will be back to the normal, the late night SmackDown reaction show, which should be on Saturday, but I cannot do it this Saturday because of the Liverpool game, and then I can't do it afterwards because I'm going to Sheffield at like 10 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, lots of things coming up. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. Sorry, I know it's not usually the stuff that I said. Whenever there's a film that comes out, I always like to just record it on my channel and just say if it was good or not. And like I said, just to end with, I would thoroughly recommend The Smashing Machine. It was really, really good. Really enjoyed it. Ryan Bader, shout out to you. Shout out to Emily Blunt, brilliant as always. And just finally, shout out to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. His best ever performance in the film. End of discussion, in my opinion. He was magnificent. And I hope you get the Oscar, Dwayne. I really do. Unless it's against one of the guys from Weapons, in which case you can't have it. So there we go. Yeah, that's it, folks. Basically, so thanks for watching. If anyone wants to listen as well, like I said, this will be on YouTube podcast, and it will be on what am I trying to say? YouTube video. Probably a little later tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Great Friday night, and I'll see you tomorrow for Liverpool versus Chelsea. God help us all. See you later, guys. Have a great night.